Welcome back to our hilarious adventure. In this forest, they met self-important Mr. Heli, claimed by Fink as the smartest for biting the giant tree daily. Alf Giant Shoe give it a rest. I'm not worried about the outcome, but about this wonderful process. Fink sneaked in with Ross to borrow Helis designs for their shelter. Just as Heli was about to catch Sam's yes, he discovered his house had been remodeled. Talk about a surprise. This is Ross' masterpiece. He somehow expanded their shelter multiple times in just a second. What a design genius. Meanwhile, the ugly duckling wasn't slacking either. It assisted in constructing the perfect shelter. What a commendable display of teamwork. By the way, Ross named the ugly duckling Darling. Just as Fink was enjoying the cloud bed, Mr. Heli showed up. Heli stormed in, fuming. Your house is a total copyright infringement on my inspiration. Little Point got scared out of his wits and started running around the room like crazy. Fink had to tell him a story to calm him down. The big bad villain who originally planned to eat Little Point suddenly felt the protective instinct and dove into Ross' arms. Deep down, he was also lonely, but to survive, he had to pretend to be tough. Little Point grew up with 0 friends. Other animals ran away like they had seen a ghost when they spotted him. Everyone thought he was a weirdo. To help Little Point learn to swim, Uncle Rich gave some unusual advice. He said, "You have to experience the worst before you can swim." Ross thought there was some truth to it, so he went for it. Just as Little Point was about to escape, Fink pushed him in, and he found out he could actually swim. Ross secretly put his hand in the water to act as a lifebuoy for Little Point. One day, Little Point spotted a bunch of his kind in the reeds and excitedly swam over. But when everyone saw him flapping his wings while swimming, they couldn't help but laugh since both his parents were little monsters. They plotted to get rid of Little Point, but when danger struck, Ross dove into the water in a flash. Just as Little Point escaped one crisis, he was dragged under by a big fish, but Ross saved him just in time. But just then, the big swallows returned, this time not only mocking him, but also revealing Little Point's backstory. That guy killed your real mother. Everyone knew this. Ross had accidentally crushed his mom. Little Point couldn't handle it and left alone, while Ross sat on the mountaintop, unsure of how to face it. Just then, Fink kept comforting him. The swallows were getting ready to migrate. Winter was coming. If Little Point didn't learn to fly, he'd be stuck vacationing on the island. Ross decided that whether Little Point forgave him or not, he had to get him flying. So he built a runway, hoping Little Point could take off from it. Just like that, with Ross' help, Little Point finally flew. It was quite the sight. But he had absolutely no idea how to land and was hurtling straight towards the trees in a perilous situation. Luckily, Ross made it in time to catch him. To better teach Little Point to fly, Ross brought in Uncle Owl as a flying instructor. The owl told Little Point he had flying potential, just in a different way. Under the owl's guidance, Little Point became quite the little flying prodigy. Elder Yan praised Little Point and thanked Ross for his help. Goodbye, Ross. It has truly been a pleasure to know you. You're amazing. I'm just not sure what you are. I'm a complete disaster in this outfit, but thankfully, your shine remains as bright as ever. The time to migrate was nearing, and they were about to part ways. Ross gave Little Point one last boost. Watching Little Point fly away, Ross felt a pang in his heart. Completing his mission didn't bring him joy. Ross desperately wanted to catch one last glimpse of Little Point, leaving only a feather behind. After Little Point left, Ross lingered at the cliff for a long time until Fink found him. Fink said, "Winter's here. It's time for your hibernation." In the end, Ross activated the device on his head, and the message quickly reached HQ. However, the signal flashed and then vanished. What a surprise. Meanwhile, Little Point was on his migration journey, facing a series of adventures. What a brave little dude. He stumbled upon a smart farm and spotted a familiar figure, mistaking it for Ross. But the person didn't recognize Little Point at all and thought he was an intruder. Many swallows were spotted by the robots, and HQ immediately issued an extermination order. Seeing the swallows in chaos, Eldoyan quickly found Little Point to lead everyone to escape. Little Point used his extensive Ross life experience to hatch an escape plan.